All right, on Wednesday, a new picture book is launching at the Musser Public Library in Muscatine. It's called Susie Clark, the Bravest Girl You've Ever Seen. It's all about the true story of a little girl in Muscatine who desegregated Iowa schools back in 1868. News 8's Shelby Kluver spoke with the author about what it was like to dive into this true hometown tale.
Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Shelby. And time's not a problem. I'm retired. So,
Well, plenty of time to write a book like this. For people that have never heard of Susie, give a quick background of she is and her family is.
Susie Clark is the bravest girl you've ever seen. And you can get that from the title, as well as I think in the story, hopefully depicts this young lady who had no idea in our version, we don't think that she really was a big fan of doing what she did, but with the persuasion and the encouragement of her loving family, she got it done and made Iowa change two schools into one. And that's the theme of our story. She's just a phenomenal young 13-year-old girl that basically changed American history almost 80 years or maybe 80 plus years prior to the Brown versus the Board of Education in the 1960s or 50, I think it was 55, or I'm not sure of that date, but yeah, she was way ahead of her time, Susie Clark.
Wow. What do you want people to get out of the book launch coming up later this week?
Mm. Well, I hope that they get some great history that they didn't know. And hopefully also they gain some encouragement and some empowering tips on how to overcome your fears of doing things. Because as we said, Susie was so brave to tackle this huge feat. And she had those encouraging words from her mom, her dad, and her grandmother. And I hope that people bring that away from the book, that they can, as a family, get through things together.
Did you find yourself kind of leaning into that message while you were writing that or thinking about that when you were going through this process?
Absolutely. I am the parent of Black children, and I do know what it takes in this modern day to encourage your children to be the best that they can be and overcome any obstacles that may be in their way. So I actually had to try to identify with Susie's mother and especially her grandmother, who was actually just one generation away from Africa. And this was during a time that was just so difficult in our country. So I definitely had to put myself in their shoes and try to decide how in the world would you send a girl out to do such an amazing thing.
Takes a lot of bravery from everyone.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Wow. Really quickly, what was it like to work with this illustrator?
Oh my, Haley and I got along great. I wanted her to know, she's a young woman and me being a seasoned woman, I wanted her to know that we could meet in the middle and agree on a lot of things, and most of all, Black culture.
History seems so far removed until you really have to stop and think that, history happens where we live. It doesn't exist far away. It's where we are and where we live.
Absolutely. We are making history as we speak. Even talking about this book is historical because it's just being launched and it's so exciting.
It is really exciting, and we hope for a great turnout later this week at the book launch. Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're so very welcome. Special shout out to
And once again, the launch of Susie Clark, the Bravest Girl You've Ever Seen, will be this Wednesday evening at the Musser Public Library in Muscatine from 6 to 7:30 in room 301. The book's author and illustrator will both be there to answer questions and sign copies. Free copies of the book will be available while supplies last. This event is made possible through the Global Education Program at the Stanley Center and the Community Foundation of Greater Muscatine.